Hello Capricorn, my name's Uma. This is your horoscope for the last lunation of 2022, and it just so happens that it's playing out in your first house. Hello Capricorn, welcome back. Happy holidays. How's the roundup feeling? How are you feeling at the end of this solar cycle? Are you feeling rounded? Are you feeling ready to go? Are you feeling optimistic for next year? I hope that you are. There's a bunch of things that I want to talk about this potential for you, Capricorn, to have a new moon in your first house. I'm speaking to Capricorn rising specifically here, is an incredible reset button. It's a time to set out of our bodies, our hopes and wishes and our dreams for what lays ahead. And it's really nice to have this just to cap off the year that's been. I know for some of you it's been not without its difficulty. And I think that the first thing that we should talk about is the idea of sort of pride in oneself. I think that's really important. And I also think that you've got a lot to offer other folks as we move forward. We'll get back to the lunation, but I did want to point out a couple of dates that might be interesting for Capricorns to take note of, and also for you to maybe have a think about who in your orbit, who in your life has Aquarian placements, because there's a kind of changing of the guard here that's happening next year that Capricorn knows all too well and will have great sort of advice for their Aquarian friends, and perhaps their Leos too. But I want you to think about the date. March 24 of 2023 will be a very interesting time. There's a lot of the outer planets moving signs. Now, this movement from one sign to the next, it almost feels like a deluge, like a sort of tidal wave of shifting energy. The outer planets all move at a much slower pace rather than the inner planets, so it's going to be sort of like generational changes. But I think when it comes to the planet Pluto, and it comes to your experience with Pluto, and you might still be in that at the moment if your sun sign is right near the end of Capricorn. But as far as the power that you have and the strength that you have to reinvent, to witness dissolution, and to hold the faith, hold the heart, hold the belief that things can grow from destruction, I think that'd be some really nice sentiments for you to look back over your, let's think about it. It'll play out differently for all of you. And if you're a Capricorn sun, it will play out for you as well. But have a think about where your placements are in Capricorn, what part of the zodiac. And then we can then bring in these themes of dissolution, disintegration, and then the power of the phoenix rising from the ashes. This is all really very intense themes, and I think that collectively, as a human species, we've felt the experience of Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. So it's a generational planet, long time in one sign, and over this time, as a group, we've come to witness different hierarchical structures perhaps dissolving, different ideas of power and that sort of apex of power dissolving. We've come into an awareness as a group that perhaps old systems of oppressive forces are going through some real vulnerability. And just as we leave Capricorn and all that the Capricorn sign represents, which does have a lot to do with hierarchy. It does have a lot to do with mission and going the distance and starting a project. There's great leadership in Capricorn. There can be in difficult moments a rigidity, a sort of immovability when it comes to authority, absolutely, and when it comes to being right, knowing better. I can say this to you, Capricorn, because you are one, so you understand what I mean, and you know that I'm not saying it in a pejorative sort of way. I have a Capricorn sun, let's remember that. But this Plutonian energy that we've been experiencing over this last generation, over these last 15 years or so, is to come out of a Pluto transit on the other end. There's definitely a saying goodbye to old ways of being. There's definitely a realization that the way that we used to behave, the way that we used to operate, the way that our soul was expressing itself, perhaps, or the way that our identity was structured, had to dissolve in order for us to go the distance, go the next round as the people that we'd like to become. In my experience, the Pluto transit that I had over 24 degrees of Capricorn, where my sun sign is, brought about with it destruction in many, many, many different ways, all to do with my sense of identity, how I identified in this life, the body that I have, and my expression of myself, that feeling of being at odds with those two things came into some sort of alignment after the dissolution of an identification prior. It's powerful, and it's really nice to have the last lunation in Capricorn, because everything that you've been through, Capricorn, the trials, the tribulations, the heartbreak, the fear, Pluto doesn't just bring with it the fresh garden. It actually destroys, it wipes out, it burns away what can't survive anymore. So that's powerful, and that's not to be taken lightly. And that's absolutely, if you're experiencing something like that now, if there's something in your environment that you're feeling is insurmountable, or that sort of that you're gripping on with your little Capricorn hooves to the side of the mountain, but the wind is just getting too strong, I want to let you know that I'm here for you through this. I know exactly what that feels like, and there is strength that can be gleaned from such an experience. I'm very proud of you, Capricorn, for all that you are and everything that you have overcome. The image of Capricorn is the mountain goat in some understandings of the zodiac and what it might symbolize. When we think of the glyph of Capricorn, some folks say that it's the signature of God. That's pretty lofty, but I think at this point in evolution, it's going to really serve you well to align your spirit, your purpose with that sentiment. There's a great mythology of the mountain goat of Capricorn traversing up the hill. I think I've told you this, stop me if you've heard it before. And when Capricorn reaches the top of that mountain and looks out and finds heaven, finds enlightenment, finds spirit world, finds the connector points that link us all together, that sublime feeling that we're all trying to get to in some way. Capricorn finds it in the mythology. Capricorn's two horns of the goat fuse into one, and Capricorn becomes the unicorn, the magical bearded unicorn. In some, I think of the medieval mythology, Capricorn can be linked to a unicorn as well. There's also some mermaid imagery in there too. Very mystical for someone so stubborn. But the unicorn basks in the glow of enlightenment. Lost am I in light supernal, says the Capricorn. And on that light, I turn my back. And you know why? Because Capricorn turns around, moves down the mountain to collect everybody else waiting at the bottom. They don't find enlightenment for themselves and disappear into the ether. They experience it, and then they hear everyone else down at the bottom, and they turn around and they go back and get them. This is a really great mythology, and I'm going to extrapolate, I think, on this next year. There's a lot that I'm learning that can help our understanding, flesh out our understanding of the zodiac a little more than personality traits that separate us. There's great links in there that bring us all together. And so on that Capricorn, as stoic as you are and as lone wolf as you can sometimes be, I think at this new moon in your first house, I think it would be really great for you to reflect on what it is that you've learnt over these last years, as far as having to let go, and remark to yourself how brilliant you are at that difficult task. And then look out to your community, look out to your Aquarian friends who are just on the very tippy of their tongue. Their Pluto transit will last 20 years, I think. It starts in March 24. It will go back into Capricorn for some time in June, but then it will station direct once more, and then we'll move back into Aquarius and stay there until the 2040s. So there's a lot of folks that are going to be feeling this trembling that you've had, either on a soul level as far as your identity goes, whatever you're watching this video for. Perhaps you have a Capricorn moon, and perhaps your emotional body or your health was rocked by something quite powerful, and you come out the other side. This new moon will be really great for you to have pride in who you are as a Capricorn, and also to prepare to roll up your sleeves and look out and see who else might need a helping hand, using the knowledge that you've gleaned so far. Well, the tarot that we've got, so 1 degree of Capricorn is the Two of Pentacles, and I also have the Two of Wands here because there is a square going on between the moon and the sun at 1 degree of Capricorn, and then also Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aries. And so in this, perhaps when you think about setting up your home, or perhaps you're coming to some place in life where you're going to be benefiting from Jupiter's energy in your 4th house. That's lovely, and there's actually going to be a great conjunction with Chiron too, so some of those wounds perhaps related to the 4th might be able to be resolved with Jupiter's help. I think at this moment right now, because it is a square between these two energies, I think that it would be great for you to really hold in your body the power of your Capricorn essence, and will put the expansion in the 4th house, which is where we find our roots, not on hold, but definitely that's to be tended to as the year goes by. March next year is going to be quite powerful. And so I think that there's definitely going to be some extra support that I will offer you. Just thinking about that now. I love you, Capricorn. I love you so much. And I've got my little major arcana here staring at me, the devil. It's all right to fall into a thought pattern of self-hate, of self-flagellation, of sort of self-discipline in a negative way, or perhaps it's okay to fall into a habit with work where you put everything else to the side and focus on your work because that's what you know you're good at, and that's what you can find some sense of regulation in. The devil is here to remind us. The devil, remember, sits in all of us. You're not the only one, Capricorn. And the devil is actually a great example of our ability to unleash ourselves perhaps from some of these habitual patterns, these binds. So if it's been habit in here or habit externally, that's all right too. And know at this new moon, you have the absolute unicorn magical powers to switch it up. It's not working for you anymore, these patterns, these habits that have cropped up to protect yourself. If it's not working, this is a perfect lunation to address some of that. Perhaps make a list of all of the things that you might like to come to some sort of resolution with. I've got my list already in my head. It's all the brown stuff: tobacco, nicotine, caffeine. I need to shake that off and not be a slave to those substances, as much as I love them. They do keep me safe. But yeah, the time is now. Sorry, that was just a thought coming from that way. But that's it, Capricorn. That's your reading for this lunation. I didn't do any intuitive tarot again. I do want to get your opinions on my content for the new year. That's going to be really important to me. So if you've managed to watch this video until now, I'd love to get your suggestions in the comment box down below, or you can send me an email as far as where we can go with our lessons next year. I'm fully involved and in love with these horoscopes for the lunations. It's helped my study greatly, and it's kept a great rhythm and regularity for me to input as I learn and as I experience the lunations myself. That's a beautiful ritual. But let's expand, perhaps. I think that would be really important to me to hear from my community, to hear what it is that you'd like to share. Share knowledge. What else can I offer in this rhythm to you that will be of help in your learning of astrology, of the tarot, whatever. Head to umaruby.com and I'll read your birth chart. Please book until you can pre-book in the new year if you'd like, and sign up to my mailing list too. I do publish every change of the season. I publish a written newsletter that has some musings and stuff that sort of has a relationship with the astrology in my life, my experience of it so far. I also then cross-post that to the Glory Box section of my website too, so you can read up on them if you'd like as well. Yes, that's it. Like, subscribe, all that gorgeous stuff. Thank you very much, Capricorn. I adore you. Well done. I'm so proud. And I will be seeing you next year, 2023. Can you believe it? I can't. Until then, I love you. Uma, over and out. Bye.